The cost of following Jesus is great, but I tell you, it's worth it. It is so worth it. What Jesus is addressing here is what people who've followed Jesus for some time would actually tell you. You see, we've discovered that we consider our souls of much greater value than our stuff. And ultimately, the end result in eternity is following Jesus is about being with God for eternity. Yes, it's about the here and now, and yes, it's about the eternity, but our stuff here on earth is not worth the cost of our soul. So I guess you could really say it this way. If we were to put a math equation together, my soul is greater than my things. But you know what we do so often, especially here in the United States? We spend so much time and effort chasing things, and we forget about the soul. We think, oh, God has my soul. God has everything taken care of. God's in the soul business. I'm going to worry about my stuff, or I'm going to worry about my things. But Jesus has laid out in Mark chapter 8 the true cost of what it means to follow Him. And what Jesus says is your soul is greater than your things or your stuff. And you've got to do the work in following Him and investing in your soul and investing in your walk with God in the here and now. But that's not a popular phrase. That's not a popular idea. That's something that takes a lot of sacrifice. Jesus said it takes a lot of denying yourself. It means you take up your cross and you follow Jesus. We stop chasing stuff in this world. We stop chasing our things, and instead we start chasing Jesus Christ. And in that we will discover that we are living an abundant life here on earth, and our soul has the opportunity to spend eternity with Jesus Christ in heaven for all of eternity. You see, your soul is what you have to begin investing in. Your life here on earth, this is what you have to invest in, because it's greater than your stuff. It's greater than your things. And the way that you do that is simply follow Jesus. So what is the next step in investing in an abundant life here? What is the next step in investing in your soul that God is asking of you? Jesus is saying, you take up your cross, you deny yourself, and you follow Him. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for me and for the gospel will save it. Jesus says, whoever wants to save his life will lose it. Whoever wants to chase stuff, whoever wants to chase things will lose their life. But instead, whoever follows Him will save their life. Now listen, stuff is not bad. Things are not bad. We need things. We need stuff. But things do not become the God of our lives. They are things that we use to properly follow Jesus. You know, one of the songs that we sang this morning was The King of My Heart. And there's some amazing lyrics that I want to point out to you that we actually sang this morning. So I, this morning, was actually looking up the King of My Heart lyrics. And I shared with our worship team before we met. So I just Googled King of My Heart lyrics because I wanted to share some of these lyrics with you, and I wanted to make sure that I got those lyrics actually right. It's interesting, whenever you Google King of My Heart lyrics, there's a lot of things that come up as King of My Heart that should not be the King of your heart. So I won't read you the lyrics to Taylor Swift's song, King of My Heart. Instead, I'm going to read you the lyrics to King of My Heart that we sang this morning. Let the King of my heart, that's Jesus Christ. This is living out the words of Jesus here. Deny yourself. Deny yourself. Take up your cross and follow Him, so that He is the King of our heart. The lyrics we sang this morning says, let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run. Let be the fountain that I drink from. He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide. The ransom for my life, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. He is my song. Let the king of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. He is my song. You see, what we have to do, what Jesus is really saying here to us, in taking up our cross and denying ourselves and following Him, is He wants to be the king of your heart. And if there is something in your life that is the king of your heart, be it stuff or things or someone in your heart, you have to be willing to set that aside and deny it and let God be the king of your heart. It's so easy for us, though, to spend money on things and spend money on stuff and try to provide more and more and more, but yet our soul and our walk with Jesus Christ actually get what is left over. Listen, following Jesus, as I've already said this morning, is going to cost you something eventually. So we've got to figure out what's the fine print. If there was an asterisk where Jesus said, "Follow me," and there was an asterisk, and we were to go down to the bottom of the page and we were to see what is the price that we're going to have to pay there. What is that? Here's the fine print. Listen, salvation is free. It costs you absolutely nothing. Praise God that His salvation is free for us. However, following Jesus is eventually going to cost you everything, not just something. It's going to cost you everything. You will not have to die for your faith. Thank God we live here in this country and we don't have to go out and risk our lives for our faith. But you will be asked to die for some things for your faith. There's some things in your life that you've been cultivating and you've been taking care of and you've been nurturing that, and that thing needs to die. It needs to go to your cross. It needs to die so that Jesus Christ can have that place in your life, so that He truly can be the king of your heart, so that as you respond to the next step of following Him, you're truly following Him instead of following that thing. Do you remember what we said the second week when we looked at following Jesus? If you're following Jesus, you're never going to be where you should not be. However, if you are following things in your life or you're following stuff in your life, it's going to eventually lead you further and further away from Jesus. And so we need to make sure that Jesus is the king of our life and that He is first place in our lives.